Now this is a film that completely slipped my mind, because I assumed it was still in production. So when this trailer dropped, I was pleasantly surprised. King Richard is a biopic centered around someone who the casual tennis fan or most people wouldn't be aware of, despite his presence in the lives of his daughters throughout their career. Richard Williams is the coach and driving force behind the successful and talented Williams sisters, who I consider to be the queens of the tennis court. There isn't a single person who doesn't know the name Venus or Serena Williams. Both women are accomplished players in the sport, who have become role models for women, not just in tennis, but in other areas outside the game. I'm sure it would be a lot more appealing to have a biopic focus on the sisters, showing their rise to fame. But at the same time, it would be an incomplete story, since they are both still active. It's interesting that instead of focusing on the stars, we are getting a story that will be told from the perspective of their father, while still essentially telling their story. At least the earlier years in a girl's journey to becoming professional players. While an interesting story, I think that it could be overlooked, if not for the fact that Will Smith was playing the lead role. The actor lends his star power to this project, making it one that many people will be more drawn to seeing and learning about the man behind the Williams sisters. With the star's inclusion on this film, and the tone of this trailer, not to mention the late November release date, it's safe to say that this is being pushed for award season. The studio, Warner Brothers, sees this biopic as an Oscar contender. It took me a few seconds to get used to Will Smith as Richard, but as the trailer went on, I saw less of Smith and more of the person he's portraying. I've seen enough interviews with the coach to recognize his speech patterns, and it's spot on. The actor did his research, and it's no surprise he's doing an amazing job. This is an Oscar-nominated actor who is always committed to his roles. Just look back at his role as Muhammad Ali in the 2001 biopic, Ali, or as Chris Gardner in The Pursuit of Happiness. Both are some of the most incredible performances the actor has given in his career, and they are all based on real-life people. I'm sure that Richard Williams and his family will approve of Will Smith and what he will be able to accomplish in depicting the father in this biopic that feels like it's paying respect to the legendary tennis coach. So far, the film looks to be a retelling of Richard's story, as publicized in the media and in the father's autobiography, Black and White, The Way I See It, which the coach wrote along with co-writer Bart Davis. Now this trailer is incredibly uplifting. I watched it a couple of times and it really touched me to see a black man with a dream, defy the odds and fulfill the wishes he had for his children. Every parent has a dream or part in mind for their kids from birth, and the road to seeing that realized can be a tough one, depending on personal circumstances like finances. In Richard Williams' case, he was the father of a blended family who were getting by, but still not prospering the way he wanted. Only by chance whilst watching TV, he tuned into a tennis match and became interested in the sport, which saw winners take away a sizable amount of prize money. He witnessed Romanian tennis player Virginia Ruzici's victory in 1980 at a tournament in Salt Lake City, which saw the athlete win $40,000, which was more money than the father would earn in a year. Richard, inspired by this, did everything he can to learn the ins and outs of tennis, turning to books, videos and coaches, until he could impart that knowledge onto his children. At first he tried teaching his stepchildren, but then decided that his unborn daughter, Venus, was the best bet at molding a child into a successful tennis player, and Sarena, who was born 1 year later. Neither girls had been born during the time that Richard had envisioned his grand plan to create a successful tennis player that would make him money. But somehow, the stars had aligned and blessed the father with 2 girls who would go on to create history in the sport. It's well noted that the father crafted a 78-page plan for his daughters long before their birth. The plan detailed both of his daughters' careers as well as their education. At that time, the tennis novice would write down anything he could think of that would benefit his future children on the road to becoming professional athletes. Richard was pretty thorough. Venus was the first of his daughters to learn the game, followed by Sarena. Richard took her to the local tennis courts where they lived in Compton and started giving her lessons at age 4. Even before then, the young girl had developed a love for the sport. It's interesting that Richard wanted daughters over sons. It had nothing to do with the father being inspired to break into tennis from watching a female player. It was mostly due to his upbringing by a single mother who installed values into him that he has never lost sight of. It's why he respected women and valued his daughters. He never undermined them or underestimated what they were capable of doing. The father believed in their strength as women and as his children. Even if he was strict in his approach, managing their lives, it was done with dedication, but more importantly, love. Okay, Let's get into the trailer. For me, the opening of this trailer is powerful. It immediately puts you in a moment of tension where Richard comes home, only to discover they have guests, but not the kind he would entertain. Someone in the community has tipped off Child Protective Services, who comes to have a word with the father, who has been tirelessly working his daughters daily, with training at their local tennis court. Now shout out to Erin Cummings, who plays the social worker. I didn't recognize her at first because I was completely absorbed into the scene and the dialogue between the three characters. She hails from Spartacus Blood and Sand and is a regular co-host on the John Campea show. So seeing her here briefly got me excited because she does an amazing job with her line delivery. When she comments, "It's a little wet for practice, don't you think? Don't the girls have schoolwork to do?" I just love that bit of dialogue that cuts to the girls training in the rain. While other parents would have called it quits and taken their children home, Richard lets them power through the weather. He's tough on his girls, but only because it's necessary to make them strong. Being soft on them will never get the results he expects them to yield. The scene paints a bleak picture, but only momentarily, as Richard turns it around by taking his stand and defending his parenting, but not before his wife gets to speak her mind. At the time, Richard was married to Oracene Price. The matriarch was not only the mother of Venus and Serena Williams, she also had 3 children prior to marrying her husband. The mother also served as a coach to her 2 daughters, often supporting Richard and her children at numerous matches throughout their career. I'm excited to see her relationship with Richard on screen. Long before their relationship dissolved, they were an incredible partnership that helped nurture and blossom their daughters into strong women. Which is why I'm happy they managed to cast an actress that will be able to bring to life the mother and bounce off Will Smith. Oracene is an equally important figure that deserves a tremendous talent playing the matriarch. Here she's played by Aunjane Ellis. The actress is best known for starring in the 2015 miniseries, The Book of Negroes, where she played Aminata Diallo, a woman abducted as a child and sold into slavery. The series was based on a novel. She also had a recurring role in the long-running CBS crime drama series, The Mentalist, and Ava DuVernay's Now They See Us, the 2019 Netflix series based on the Central Park jogger case. Most recently, the actress appeared in HBO's Lovecraft Country as Hippolyta Freeman. I just love the presence she brings playing Oracene, or Brady as she's often called. The mother gives an account of all her children, letting the woman know that despite what she thinks or heard, every one of her children are excelling in their studies at school. It's here we get a mention of some of the other siblings to the Williams sisters. In the trailer, Richard references their future careers when he goes through a list of professions that his daughters are all working towards. So let's just take a moment to go over the 3 women who will factor into the film, since this is the earlier years in which they were all living under the same roof. Yutunde Price is the oldest of the siblings. She later becomes a professional assistant to her famous sisters while also serving as a nurse. Unfortunately, she passed away in 2003 following an incident in Compton. She's played by actress Mikalya Lashae Bartholomew, who starred in the 2021 short film Pure. On the left we have Isha Price, now a successful lawyer who often visits her sister's games. She's played by Daniele Lawson, who's had a handful of roles in network and streaming shows. Finally, we have Lyndrea Price, who is currently a fashion merchandiser and developer. She was hired to work on the film based on her former stepfather's life. She's played by Layla Crawford, another television actress who will have her first starring role in a major film. While Richard is talking to the woman and the officer, we get glimpses at some of the hardships he's had to endure. One of them being a gang attack in which the father was beaten by the neighborhood gang, who had control over the local parks and tennis courts. He would often have to fight them to gain access to the space for training, which ended with him being injured on multiple occasions. The coach ended up with broken ribs and even lost 10 teeth in these altercations, which lasted for 2 years. I love seeing him include the coach's top 10 rules for success, which the father gets his children to stick up around the tennis court where they train. These rules are so instrumental to the whole approach that Williams took to push his daughters from unknowns to champions. So here are the rules, as listed in Williams' autobiography. 1. Failing to plan is planning to fail. 2. Always be positive. 3. Confidence is essential to success. 4. Faith is essential to confidence. 5. When you fail alone. 6. You learn by looking, seeing, and listening. 7. Create theories and test them out. 8. Always have a plan B. 9. An appreciative child is a blessing. 10. Let no one define you but you. We see what it was like for a black man with dreams of grandeur, breaking into a game that was dominated by white people. He had a hard time getting people to take him seriously as he made steps to raise his daughters' profiles as players. Richard is no stranger to racism, having grown up in Shreveport, LA. The town at the time faced segregation, but as a young man, brought up by a single mother, he was taught the importance of remaining peaceful and intolerant in the face of discrimination. So no matter what obstacles he faced as a father, pushing for his kids to succeed, he was ready to be laughed at, mocked, and dismissed. The father knew that he would have the last laugh because he believed in his daughter's talents. Okay, let's go back to discussing the cast and the trailer. John Bertnal plays Rick Macci, the tennis coach responsible for training the Williams sisters from 1991 to 1995. Seeing Bertnal here as the coach who owns his own academy in Florida is fantastic. The actor, much like Smith, is emulating the real-life person he's based on, almost to a T. I've always enjoyed the actor from his time in The Walking Dead, where he played Shane, and his take on the Punisher in the Marvel/Netflix series. So having him as part of this cast is a welcome addition. Macci has one of the best lines in the trailer, and no, this isn't a line made up by the filmmakers, so the audience have something that they can quote from the film. His line, "I think you might have the next Michael Jordan," to which Richard corrects him with his response, "Oh no, brother man, I think I got me the next two." This is close to the real exchange between the two men. Once the professional coach saw Venus walking on her hands and performing a backwards cartwheel while leaving to use the bathroom. Prior to that, Macci wasn't entirely impressed with the output from the training session he had witnessed. At first he believed they lacked the refinement he was used to seeing in previous talent the coach helped to nurture, like Jennifer Capriati. Macci was eager to take on the challenge and train the girls, which he did for the remainder of the afternoon and the next day. As I've mentioned off the top, he did end up training the young women, making them into even better players than they were under Richard, who was the one who contacted the coach because he believed he was the best person to take them to the next level. Okay, so I've saved the best for last, and that's the young talent who are set to play the Williams sisters, which is no easy task. These young actors cast as the siblings have to be able to bring a certain quality to the role. There's the earnestness and likability to their personalities, and of course, the physicality. From the trailers, both actors are doing a wonderful job with their scenes on the tennis court. We get a quick glimpse at a doubles match and a few solo matches, and the energy they give looks convincing. Saniyya Sidney plays Venus, the older of the two sisters. The 15-year-old stars had a wonderful career, even before being cast in King Richard, but now it's safe to say she'll become an even bigger name once this movie gets released. Of the two actresses playing the siblings, I'm more familiar with Sidney's work. She first appeared in 2016's Fences, the Denzel Washington directed film based on the play by August Wilson. Fast Color, where she starred alongside Gugu Mbatha-Raw, playing her on-screen daughter in the superhero drama film. She also starred in the short-lived series The Passage, which was cancelled after one season. As well as playing Venus Williams in King Richard, the star will be playing Sasha Obama in The First Lady, an upcoming TV series set to debut on Showtime. Next up we have Demi Singleton, who plays Sarena, the youngest of the two sisters. The 14-year-old is also 1 year younger than her co-star, mirroring the age gap between the tennis stars. The actress comes from a theatre background, where she played Nala in the hit Broadway musical The Lion King. She also had a minor role in The Godfather of Harlem, where she played Forrest Whitaker's granddaughter. I don't think we get enough of both girls in terms of dialogue to get a sense of the acting, but I'm certain they will do a great job. There's two impactful scenes in the trailer involving both girls and their father. The first is at the Bank of West Classic in 1994. That is the tournament that Venus made a professional debut. We see Richard encouraging his daughter in a heartfelt moment that puts so much pressure on Venus's young shoulders. Their exchange does plenty to convey the stakes for the young player who has given everything she had up to this point. Being a black girl puts her under scrutiny from her peers, especially the adults overseeing the matches. It completely hit me watching that moment between the pair. This was Venus's moment to truly take the stage and to show that she had what it takes to be not just good, but better than any other player on the court. Still, the pressure for her to perform was at an all-time high, and yet she didn't back down. Like her father said, she was representing all the black girls in the world by being there on a court that had other exceptional players who were already professionals. In fact, she faced the number 59 player in the world and won. The second impactful scene for me is just that nod of acknowledgement that Sarena gives to her father as he joins her overseeing the tennis court. That understanding between the two is what makes them an incredible father-daughter team. The dialogue in this trailer is just fantastic, and Will Smith delivers it so good that I was hooked on his every word. There's so many quotable lines that highlights the father's constant support in boosting morale for his daughters. I can't wait to see some of the more monumental matches that will put a spotlight on the sisters as they rise through the ranks to become icons. One of the things that the trailer doesn't outright show is the rivalry between the sisters on the courts, especially their eventual face-off against each other on a competitive level. Instead, it focuses on their sisterhood and their love for the sport, which is what connects the two beyond their blood relation. From the looks of the trailer and a number of shots showcasing the girls with the now famous hair beads, it seems like we'll follow them from a young age all the way up to 1994, when Venus made her professional debut at 14 years old. Beyond that, it's uncertain if they will skip ahead in time and show us the later years in their career. The fact that they haven't casted any old actors to play Venus and Sarena means we will see them until at least 18 and 17 years old respectively. Personally, I'm happy with the time frame, as getting past that point can only make this story feel like it's trying to tell more than necessary, which could end up hurting the film that's supposed to be focused on their father, and by extension, his daughters. We don't need the entire history of the family condensed into a 2-hour movie. It will just end up feeling rushed and bloated. The final scene between Richard and his daughters is one of my favorite moments in the trailer because it shows us a tender exchange that doesn't have the intensity of any of the previous moments we've experienced up to this point. It's just a sweet moment between the father and his daughters, where he asks them a simple yet fun question. Okay, now that I've discussed the trailer and some of the cast, I think it's important to shine the light on the creative team who put together this inspirational real-life story. We have Reinaldo Marcus Green directing the film. The filmmaker is best known for his work with Will Smith on the 2021 Netflix documentary series, Amend, The Fight for America. His 2018 film, Monsters and Men, which won the Special Jury Award for Outstanding First Feature at the Sundance Film Festival. Green also directed episodes of the Ashley Walters-led British crime drama series, Top Boy, in the 2019 Netflix revival series. Rounding out the creative team, we have a newcomer writer. Zach Baylin is a Los Angeles-based screenwriter who came up with the script for this film. His script was featured on The Blacklist, an annual survey created by film executive Frank Leonard, which features the most liked motion picture screenplays not yet produced. I'm sure I'm not the only person who felt a sense of pride from watching this trailer, which was boosted by an amazing track from Alicia Keys. The sound played throughout the trailer is called The Gospel and comes from the singer's 6th studio album, Here. The album including the sound was released in 2016. They couldn't have picked a better song to complement this first trailer. Hopefully the single is featured in the film, or at least in the soundtrack. I'm looking forward to see what other songs they have prepared for the movie and in future trailers. I can't praise this trailer enough. It's not often that a biopic gets me this excited, especially since most times these movies based on real life figures are often mishandled. They can cast amazing talent, but story-wise, they end up falling short of the real life story. Hopefully this one lives up to the hype and doesn't end up being a wasted opportunity to let people know the interesting real life story of a father who propelled his daughters to stardom. This is sure to be an event film that will entice people who are more casual moviegoers into going out and watching it with their family and loved ones. I will definitely be taking my family to see this, as I firmly believe it will be a special film, which will resonate with the black community because it's a story about a black father defying the odds. It will also appeal to anyone who is aware of the Williams sisters and is interested in seeing their origins play out on the big screen. It's so easy to forget Richard Williams is the man who took them from their humble origins in Compton all the way to the top, where they have exploded onto the world stage, becoming black icons. So it's time we learn about his story and give the father his opportunity to shine. Richard is a legend in his own right and deserves to be lauded for his exceptional work raising his daughters. The film is set to be released in theaters on the 19th of November. That's a little over 2 months away, so keep it on your radar and mark those calendars. Have you seen the King Richard trailer? Has it piqued your interest or not? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways folks, that's all for now. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to subscribe, like and comment below. And hey, maybe this wasn't your cup of tea. And that's okay. Just remember to take care and stay safe.